welcome back. You are watching or listening to The Woo Factor. I'm your host, Suzy Woo, and this is where we have grounded conversations for cosmic thinkers. Super excited. I'm always excited. Today's no exception. So let me introduce you to our next guest, and I need to read it, so just bear with me for a moment. Okay, so my guest is Irene Achelois, who is a gifted medium with over 20 years experience as a scientist, bridging the gap between logic and the unseen. Having worked across Canada and the US, she offers private readings, event readings, gallery readings, mediumship walkthroughs, and paranormal investigations, both public and private. Wow. Irene is the star of Trance Scribing, what a great title, on the Spirit Realm Network. As a medium investigator with the Private Eye Paranormal team, Irene merges intuitive insight with investigative techniques to uncover truths beyond the veil. Her ultimate mission is to deliver loving and healing messages, offering clarity, comfort, and connection to those seeking guidance from the other side. Okay, and so now we are going to bring Irene on. Welcome, Irene! Woo!
Hello.
I'm really delighted and excited to, meet you here online. We will be meeting in the flesh in the middle of August. But gosh darn, like what a wonderful bio that you have. So, the first thing that kind of got me, scientist, I definitely want to know what your astrology signs are. So I kind
I
of
will share.
so do you know your big three? I bet you do.
Actually, no, I don't think so. I only know that I'm a Leo pretty much, and I think
What's your
uh
birthday?
8/8.
Out of town. Oh my gosh. So I'm 1 week after you. I am also a Leo.
Ah,
August 15th is my birthday.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
insane. And we both got this crazy curly hair. We're both wearing red
Yep.
today. That's really neat. Okay, cool. I gotta know. Like, tell me about like a little bit more about that background. Like, how did you go? What was your major? Like, what was the whole science thing? And how did you get from science to spirituality? Because we're there married. Like, that's my forte, and I get all excited.
For me, it was well, the spiritual side has been around my entire life. I was born into like the Orthodox Christian, religion. So for me, there was that part of spirituality. And then there was the spiritual side, which was the medium side. That's always been there. But like I grew up first generation in a small town. And so your path was either you had to be a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, something like that, or you got married, like something like that was usually your path. And so I ended up going to college and I majored in pre-med actually. And then I decided to just go for my master's degree because I wasn't sure. I was always not sure what I wanted to do, but I kind of knew what I was supposed to be doing, but I just did not feel that pull, that drive to go full on into medicine. So I decided to get my master's degree because that was what was offered to me at the time. And basically my training is it's a master's in biology, but it's training in molecular biology. And so that was kind of like I did a lot of DNA sequence analysis, things like that early on in my work. And then I worked in academia for a long time, and then I kind of went into industry. And then I was there for a while, managing labs, more like analytical labs, like chemical labs, things like that. And then, I had a life-changing event for me. I mean, I know I had a series of events that kept making me make decisions that would lead me in the direction I was supposed to go. Hindsight is 2020, right? You look back and you say, "Oh, wait. Yeah, that's why that happened. That's why that happened." But
Yeah.
for me,
Can I ask something?
yeah,
Um, in your formative years, because you said it's always kind of been there, like
yeah.
what does that look like? What are some of the examples of your early formative experiences?
So very early on, I would see spirit. And then I kind of, stopped. I kind of blocked that out for a little while. And
Did you keep
then
it to
it
yourself,
went into
or did you?
dreams. It was more influenced by a religious upbringing. So you kind of just stop paying attention, you block it out. And then it was more like dreams would show up. Like I'd have dreams of things that would happen. Sometimes, like I would have a dream and not, I wouldn't quite remember the dream at the moment, but it was like a deja vu thing. I would be in a conversation with someone and I'd be able to finish their sentence because I dreamt it the night before or something like that. So it would show up in that, and it showed up a lot in the claircognizance side of things, in the knowing. So just kind of knowing to do things, knowing how to do things, it just showed up that way.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. I had a life-changing event where I was injured in just like this weird way that caused, like, I ended up getting some kind of nerve compression in my cervical spine, or it inflamed it. And then I had some kind of reaction to a shot I was given, and I actually lost the use of my arms for almost like 6 months. I had some use of it, like I could lift a spoon barely, like to eat. Everything had to be at this level, otherwise I couldn't really do anything. The lifting was the hardest part. And so I couldn't drive. I couldn't do a lot of things. So it forced me to really like reevaluate and to, change the direction of my life. And it didn't, people say, "Oh yeah, this happened to me," and then I just changed the direction of my life and this is the way I went. Being like the stubborn Greek person I am, and being analytical and everything else, like I had to go a little bit in that direction and then come back. So it was an interesting experience, but I went off and I did some work on clinical trials for a while, thinking like maybe that will bring that fulfillment of healing and helping. It was fulfilling, yes, but it still didn't feel right. In the meantime, while I was doing all of that, I was practicing my skills, regaining the use of like some of the abilities that I had as a child that I didn't use as much through my teens and 20s and so on. So I just was reconnecting with everything. And then I was formally training. And in that span of time, because I couldn't ignore it and I had to validate, I had to make sure that what I was doing was real. And so I had to go through classes. I had to go through trainings. I had to get certified. You're a scientist, you have to get certified, right? So I had to do all of those things to be able to trust that what was coming through, I like was real. So while I was doing that and then kind of living that clinical trial life for a while, I had to go home and help. I had a family member who was very sick, and so I went home to help with that family member, and that was my opportunity to say, okay, I can do something different with my life. And so I found a job that I can do while, doing my mediumship. So I was still working full time, but I teach like science, and then I started doing mediumship. It gave me a little more freedom because, previous jobs, they consumed your time, so it helped. And that allowed me to go out into the public and start working and start, experiencing what everybody's experiencing out in the world now doing mediumship. It's been fun. The experience of healing, bringing love, bringing messages. I think it's a blessing.
Is mediumship in the spiritual industry, is that like your full-time thing now?
Mediumship, it actually has become more of my full-time thing. Yes. So that is the direction where it keeps pushing. I still human. I still am like, well, let's see how it goes. But I mean, it's been going well, so I can't say I'm thankful. So, but the science, you'll never leave the science behind. I can't. And like, I would be doing a disservice if I left that part of me behind, because I feel like that religious self, my religious self, and the spirituality kind of self, like they're all intermixed. It's what makes me the medium I am, right? And that it helps me do what I need to do. So I'll never leave that behind. I'm always going to be interested, and I'm always going to think about why and how, all of these things are happening.
Got it. Now, the religious background that you were raised with, is that Catholicism, or
It's orthodoxy. It's like Catholicism in a lot of ways. Yeah.
do they believe in reincarnation?
No. No, they do
So,
not.
so I'm curious, like your family members, like the level of acceptance with your current choices. Do you get a little
It
bit of heat
depends
from that,
on
or?
it depends on who I'm around and the like the support, but it's not something that's it's kind of something that goes unspoken.
Mm,
So, you love each other, but there's certain things that are unspoken with certain family members, and other family members are fine with it. So,
yeah, yeah, understood. I get that. Right. So I just saw last night, you might have just posted it or I just came across it. Your schedule is crazy. So you are doing you have so many bookings. And from what I've observed, if you go to these different places and you're either doing a reading of the place, or you're doing mediumship at these different places. So we've got the whole mediumship piece. And then at what point did you decide you wanted to go into the paranormal portion of this work?
it's funny, like before I decided to do this publicly, the paranormal is where I went first because it felt safe to enter
Wow.
that way. So that was where I first started, like really, opening up to people and sharing like my skills as a medium. And but I used it through the paranormal field. So that's where I actually started allowing myself to do what I like, to be public about it. And so it's always been there. And I've always had, you can't, the mediumship, when people say some people realize their skills later in life, for me, it's just always been there. And I always would try, no matter how much I tried to block it out, I would try to find ways where I can experience it, I can welcome it, into my world that's more acceptable, I guess, in a sense. So that's the direction I had gone in early on. And, and I find it fascinating that the scientist side of me, even though I can see like it's hard to explain, but even though I can see and I can have all these experiences, I still want to find a way to prove it, to show it to someone. And so, we do a lot of private investigations. Well, that we can fit in our schedule, but we've done private investigations, and they, for me, that is more fulfilling than, some of the public investigations that we do, as much as I love those too, because they're just fun, right? But in the private, you can actually utilize every skill. I can utilize the scientific side, the understanding of how like like things work in the house, and how things work in nature, and then to then combine like the medium side to it, and see if there's anything really going on in the house, and then we investigate and we use the equipment to see if we can validate those things and validate their experiences. And like you really can leave, even though we can't maybe prove to the rest of the world, that this exists. In some ways, you can actually show the family that they're safe, and then they're not crazy, and things are happening in their house. So that is, I think, the most fulfilling when it comes to that, in terms of like utilizing those skills and wanting to do the paranormal, and having probably started out that way, like because of that.
Yeah, yeah. This is way cool. Have you ever had anything scary, like for you, that happened? Like, have you ever been like scratched or somebody was like nasty, like get out or anything like that?
We tend to get outs, or I investigate with Danica, and so Danica is the one that usually gets things like shut up, or something like that. And we've had a team member get scratched. I've never been scratched. I have a different belief system, in terms of how scratches come about. I don't believe that they're always something scary, something negative. I believe sometimes, because we're made of energy, sometimes when somebody's trying to reach and get enough energy to come in contact with you, it can maybe show up as like a red spot or as a scratch. It can sometimes come in that form because they're trying to get to you in some way, and they, maybe did it a little too much, or a little too hard. And so it's just to let you know that they're there a certain way. And then other times, yeah, of course, there's the possibility that it could be something scary. I don't want to ever kind of eliminate that part of it. But for myself, I've never had any kind of experience like that. And, I've seen seen things, but mostly I think the worst, if I go into something that's really negative and you have to lean into it. You have to figure out what it is for the people that you're going for, right? And so I'll lean into it and of course like I'll vomit or something like that will happen, but that's probably the worst that I've never
Yeah.
been hurt. It's just experiencing that energy. It's happened once, really. Like that's probably the most, I might get nauseous mostly, but that's probably the worst that I've ever had. Never been hurt though. So even in the worst circumstances, and I think it's important to know that, to go in with that intention and know that you are protected, when you enter a space, especially a scary space that, or people are scared of the space.
Right. Yeah. Do you believe that that follows intention? That intention is everything?
Yeah, I do. Belief is a very strong emotion. It's a very strong, like it's all behind manifestations, right? It's all behind faith. It's all behind even these like large movements, sociological movements, right? It's the belief. And belief has the ability to cause a lot of change and affect a lot of things. And if you put your belief into something very negative, it can affect you in a negative way. If you put your belief into something very positive and healing, and that will be a positive experience. So I do believe that if you have a strong belief, a strong intention of good, then that comes out.
Do you have a main spirit guide that you work with, or do you have like a team? Like, have you, because you've been doing this for a while, so I'm gonna assume that you've established some kind of like a, because otherwise, how do you filter the truth, what's meant for you and for you to be able to interpret?
There's always been one person. She comes to me in the form of a female energy, and she's been there since for a long time, since as long as I can remember in my life. So she's been around the most, and she helps guide me, and I think she's the, like, for me, the biggest teacher. I think in my understanding, in the way I grew up in my faith, I do feel like I connect with the Christian-based figures. I do believe I connect with Jesus. I do believe I connect with angels. Archangel Michael, though, has been for me my connection and protection in a lot of ways in terms of spirit. And I actually even grew up in a church called Archangel Michael Church, and I spent a ton of time there. And so I like, that's for me my comfort, my protection, my safety. So I've always believed that he was around and guiding me in that way. But then I have others that are like family members, and some that are just there and exist, and I know I knew them in another time, and I don't know how you just know that you know them and they're present and they show up and they come in and out. And so I've had experience, like different experiences, but I don't share a lot about my guides, to the public, because I always feel like those are my guides. They're my, I do a little bit, I'll share a little bit about them, but sometimes they change. The consistent ones stick around, but I have some coming in and out, and they come during the phases of your life. So does that seem like your experience too? Do you have
It
that,
does. Yeah,
Yeah.
because kind of that was my other supplemental question is do you also get these rotating ones?
Yeah.
You got your main and then you get these ones that come in and out. Or like if that character is a particular relation to you, they show up when it's that for your client who you're talking
Yeah,
to. Yeah,
exactly.
and I got goosebumps like right now. And I also, as you were speaking this time, there's a consciousness that I'm plugged into, and I know it sounds really awkward or overly watered down, but they label themselves as David. I don't, but it's not like an individual. It's a
Yeah.
consciousness, and that's how it presents to me. And as you were speaking about Archangel Michael, I heard David, and that there's this
Ah,
kind of blue and gold overlaying energy there because that's one of my go-tos that you also have. So that's
that's
something that we
beautiful.
share is the way I'm understanding this or have in common, which is kind of cool. I always like to
Yeah.
find threads
It's
in
probably a
common.
curly hair thing, right?
Yeah, or the
That's
Leo
what it
thing,
is. That's why
or yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but it's a beautiful thing. I definitely can
it
say
is. It's
that.
a beautiful thing.
Do you have a daily routine for yourself? Like when you wake up in the morning, do you have like your own little something something, and then at the end of the day, do a little something something like to prepare
It's
yourself for, when we go off to sleep?
Yeah, it's always prayer. For me, it's always prayer. And you can look at it, at times in a way it could be meditation, prayer, but like they're the same for me. They're interchangeable. So
Right.
however that looks for me, it's prayer.
Yeah. What is your favorite part about this, like not the industry, but the practice of it?
Oh boy.
So you've got a whole long schedule lined up,
I
and you
you
do
know,
you do the
yeah, go
mediumship, you
ahead.
do the visits, like what really pops for you?
I love I love platform mediumship. I love gallery reading. I love going into a crowd and pointing the person out, or and just and they come out shocked, and we know it's not us, it's them, but that we get to have that experience, and like to bring them that information and see that you could see it in their face. I mean, it happens in a sit down, a one-on-one, we like I do one-on-ones also, and I love those as well, but in a gallery, when you're just kind of, you have the pressure on of like reading a lot of people, and you have to do it quickly. You have to get that information to them. It's, for me, it's fulfilling because you watch it happen so quickly. Like you just see it. It's just, I can't explain it. I'm sure you know and understand. Like you see the shift, you see
Yeah.
the change, and
So when
it's
you
the best part.
do the gallery readings, do the person you're going to ask to come to, I want to know if they light up. Like, or do you actually see whoever it is around? Like, I'm curious because we're all a little different there. May I come to you? Like the first gallery reading I ever did, I wasn't sure who to pick. Like I was so nervous.
It happens for
Um,
everybody.
and I just like dove in and it was right.
Yeah.
And then once you break the seal, then you just kind of keep going. I'm also curious, like, who did you train with? And then do people light up when you're doing galleries? Like, how do you know what guides you to go to a particular person?
So they don't light up for me, but I see their family member, or their loved one or guide next to them, or something will be around them like that I'm supposed to see or recognize. So that's how that happens. They don't light up for me though. Or I feel this pull, like I'll walk by them and I'll feel a pull toward them, or I'll feel something in my body that makes me stop. And so those are usually my drawing points, and where, like how to pick them out in the crowd. And sometimes, you can just be brought to a spot and they're within those three people because you could feel it, but you just can't figure out which one it is until you bring in a little bit more of the information coming from their loved one. But that usually it's the spirit is somewhere around them or something happens.
Right, love it, love it. I'm so much loving this conversation. And then because you are all about, the certification and such, how did you get your formal training?
So I trained with Cindy Kaza, who was trained through Lilydale. She did a ton of training at Lilydale, still goes back and teaches, workshops and does galleries there, which I love because then she's close by and I can go see her. That's my favorite. So I trained through Cindy Kaza. I trained through a woman. She's not like paranormal famous. Her name is Erin Cube, and Tina Pandali. It was her is her as a medium, also a very talented medium and assistant out of the UK. Also, Cindy trained through Arthur Finley as well. But Erin and Tina, they certified me. Erin has a school. She certifies mediums. And so I trained through Erin Cube and Tina Fundali. And then I've had other trainings with other mediums. A little bit of mentorship training with and training with Sarah Lemos. And then I've done some classes through Arthur Finley, and as well, just some things here or there to keep the training going and
Yeah.
guidance in that way. So yeah, but those are the main ones: Erin, Tina, Cindy, and a dash of Sarah in there mixed in.
The Private Eye Paranormal team. Tell me about what is that? You're an investigator with them. What is that?
So that is myself, Dennis Mathis, Brian Mathis, Donna Baxter, and Danica McCann. So we all work together. We kind of combined our two kind of paranormal groups, I guess, in a way. We like Danica and I weren't an official group. I was just doing readings and, and being a medium. And then, but we did investigations, and then there was BAM Paranormal, which was Brian, Dennis, and Donna. And we kind of came together under the umbrella of Private Eye Paranormal to work together and just do workshops and do investigations and do private investigations. So Donna and Deanne too. Ooh, I almost forgot Deanne. They're nurses, and so they have that background. And Dennis and Danica and Brian have their backgrounds as well. I have my background as a medium and scientist. So like we work together to help as best we can, and then to go have fun and do investigations as well. And we have a documentary, New Era Paranormal. JD Curry filmed us and did a couple documentaries of us with investigating in different locations. And that's probably about it. That's pretty much the gist of kind of what we do.
It's
Oh,
real
and
fun.
Donna makes crazy, scary dolls. Like she makes these amazing like dolls, like for haunted or scary dolls for paranormal events. Very
Wow.
talented.
Oh my gosh. What that sounds fun. Like you guys sound like a fun bunch. Now,
Yeah.
tell me about transcribing because this is it's your own show. Tell us about that.
Well, it's on the Spirit Realm Network. It's Tuesdays at 8 p.m. and people will jump on for live one-on-one readings. So they actually come on camera with me and I do what I call flash. I call them flash readings because I couldn't think of a way to express them because they could be a little longer and really short. They kind of go, it depends on the timing of the show, how much time I have left and how many people are waiting to jump on. And so they're usually we've gotten kind of down to the point where they're usually somewhere around 5 minutes. And but I'll do 2 minute readings for as well, and I'll do a reading in the chat. So I'll pull people from chat, and I'll do readings as well for them. And I use my notebook, and of course the clairs, and then I will do like these quick readings for our guests. And it's the time flies, like and you have to move quickly. And I think that's that part of me that loves galleries. It's kind of like doing a gallery, except they jump on and they're the only ones sitting in front of you. So it's fun. It's
Are
a
you
great
drawing
experience.
pictures? Are you writing words? What goes on the
I
notebook?
do. So it's kind of like, how you said you like the title Transcribing. Well, that was like the title of the show because I do automatic writing and this like a drawing, but it's not, how people sketch these beautiful images. My drawing is not like that at all. But images will come through, and I think it's because I don't know how to draw. So when an image comes through for me, the medium, it's validation that like I did not draw that because I could never draw that. And for the person who's watching, it's a physical item in front of them, that they can actually see this image come through, or sometimes they see the image and I don't, which is like one of my favorite things. And like one time I was at an event and I drew something and I could not figure, I was like, what is this? I don't know. I don't quite know. And I tried to give an idea for them because, when it's not my normal symbolism, I'll look at it for them and I'll tell them, I don't know really what this image is supposed to be. And the image on the paper, the woman looks at it and says, that looks like a book. And I said, oh, yeah, I can see that. I see a book. And she pulls the book she had just written out of her purse and was promoting at the event.
Gosh.
But I like couldn't see it. And you'd think I'd be able to see like the shape of a book, but for some reason Spirit didn't want me to see it. They wanted her to see it. And
Yeah.
so, but once she said it, I saw it, which is amazing. It's just for me, that's amazing because I have no idea. Or when I draw it upside down and I flip the notebook and it's there, like those are those awesome moments. You can't explain. You can't say,
It's so cool. Like,
yeah, that's
do you feel
fun.
that gratitude and excitement inside yourself, like when that happens?
Yeah.
Because I'll have somebody, I'll be like, I'm getting that you need yarrow. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't know what yarrow is, but I can't stand not knowing. So let me look it up. And then and they're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I mean, yeah, that's what I have. And I'm like, oh my God. It like never gets old to me.
No, it
And
doesn't.
it keeps it fun and lively and exciting. And, it also helps us to stay in that trust. It's kind of that,
Exactly.
what
That's
do
what
you
I was
call
just
that?
gonna
That
say.
football. It's just like, I don't have to work. I just get myself out of the way. To me, it's like if I'm under the ground, like under the street, and there's the manhole cover, I lift the manhole cover and push it over. And now I'm just an open vessel. So everything that comes through, I'm the mouthpiece or
That's
whatever it
it.
is. I
Yeah.
love it because you're not supposed to think. You don't have to think. You don't have to do anything. Just let it come in
Yeah.
and be that mouthpiece, like the decoder, and it just comes out.
Yeah, exactly. And what's cool is it's like a very unique way of like the automatic writing that not a lot of people practice, or that we really haven't seen practiced. Not that people haven't done it, but now it's become its own. It's taken on its own life. So the show's called transcribing. So now people look at what I do as an actual modality called like transcribing and transcription. So for me, it's kind of like the coolest thing because it just created something that I didn't create. It came about from what they told me to do and how I approached my readings.
Wow.
So it's
Wow.
just
So you kind
crazy.
of trademark, you coined something
Yeah,
there.
I
That's
didn't, they did.
wonderful. That's very cool. My next question is, are you a trance medium?
So early on, if you would have asked me that, I would have probably said no. But even though I had had some training in it, just like training in the automatic writing, I would have said no. But as time progressed and I experienced what I experienced, and I'm trying to understand how I work, I now know it. I tell people, it's just like it's a partial kind of trance. When I read, I don't. I'm here, but I'm not totally here. Just in reading in general. But and I have done like trance at almost like what I would call almost 100%, because then there's the people that fully give into the trance. So, and like I have practiced that, but for me, I can go almost there and bring somebody in to speak through me. I've done that, but in like when I work with my notebook, I know that part of me is not me. It's the notebook coming through, and I believe it uses the claircognizance, and it's like a trance, and I believe it comes through in that way. So yeah, now, yes, when I look at it and I really see the practice of it, I tell people, yes, it's definitely trance. But early on, I might not have said that because my experience with trance early on, before I really started pushing and doing this work in the way that I work now, I've worked with some amazing people. Like, and it's so hard, like for me to see. I've seen somebody do full on trance, and it's just it's 100%, right? And it's so amazing. And I've watched these amazing mediums connect in the way that they connect. And for me, early on, it's kind of like I can only aspire to be that. And it's good in a way. It's humility, right? It's being humble and knowing that they have a lot of experience and I have to respect that experience, right? Because they're amazing in what they do, and that I'll eventually get there with them, right? So, for me, that's why it probably would have been difficult because I had such respect for the people that taught me. It's like I could never do like to the level that they do, but now I'm not saying that I'm them yet, but like that, but that I do the work that I do because like they're just amazing. And if I could ever, make them proud in that way and become the best medium that I can be, for me, that's the best thing I can do for them, right? To pay them back for the gift that
Yeah,
they've given me.
kudos. I get that because if I'm gonna do like when I do an event and if I'm gonna do a gallery, I will always tell them, or even a private party, like we're Leos, and so we always have to have humor there. And so what I'll
Yeah.
do is I'll let them know like this is how it's gonna work. You don't need to worry. I'm not gonna suddenly go right? Or like
Yeah.
become somebody else. I don't do that because everyone has a little bit of anxiety the first time if they
Yeah.
have no experience with this kind of thing. But
Yep.
on the other hand, though, like when somebody is very strongly coming through, I can see them, I can hear what their voice, like the texture of their
Yeah.
voice. Now I won't be that voice, but I'll absolutely say the words, and they're, oh my God, that's exactly what they used to say. And we have no way of knowing that. I really think
Exactly.
it's such a intriguing place to be and service to offer. I love this work so much. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Anybody
Yeah.
who thinks that it's bad, well, they're just not for me. Um, but
Yep.
do you get any like flack or resistance like on your socials? Do you get those like bots that say Jesus and you know those? Because I do. I'm just curious if you get that too.
I've gotten it occasionally through the Spirit Realm Network because we air there. But I have had a couple occasions where I've gone to events and I've had protesters outside
Oh,
of my events.
wow.
So, but just a couple of occasions, and they usually kind of dwindle away. Like they disappear by the time the event starts. It hasn't been scary, in that sense. But no, I've had that, and it's really hard too, knowing that I have a strong belief, it's still in my faith and in God, and to have someone just yelling at you, and it's a little bit unnerving, but at the same time, it's just understanding where they are.
Because everyone has a right to believe how they believe, and we're not
Yeah,
here to judge them or fix or convince. But we also have
yeah,
a right to be who
be
we
who
are
we
as
are. Yeah,
well. And people
exactly.
who value our service, well, then we connect with one another.
Yeah, exactly. And if
Yeah.
they choose to want to come to us first for that service, they should be allowed to make that choice.
Exactly, exactly. Are you booked? Like, what's your one-on-one schedule look like? Like, how often do you
I
see?
do set aside time for one-on-ones, and I mostly Wednesdays and Thursdays are open on the calendar now. Wednesdays are usually my Zoom days. Thursdays I do either one. I do in person and Zooms. And I usually read. I have a spot that I read at Illuminate that in Concord, Ohio. So usually I see my in-person clientele there, and I'll do my Zooms from there as well, but on a Thursday. So, but if you go to my website, you can either go through ireneachelois.com or claireconnections.com and just select services. You'll be able to book an appointment. Oh my gosh. And there's this thing with the calendar. For some reason, people keep joining my wait list, but they're not clicking the month. Like they're not clicking the arrow to because I opened up some dates recently, and so they're not clicking the arrow to change it from the 1 month to the next month and then clicking on the date. They're
Mhm.
just automatically assuming the calendar, there are no more available appointments when the calendar stops. And so I'm experiencing that difficulty right now. But so if anybody's watching, make sure you click the arrow to move through the calendar to select and make your appointment. But yeah, and my readings are usually like a half an hour. I usually keep it to 30 minutes. And if there's a special circumstance, I take it into consideration, but I usually keep it at a half an hour. And I also do private parties and events like that as well, smaller venues. So I do that as well in addition to galleries.
Good. And somebody can go ahead and book an appointment, or they can contact you. How far do you travel for private parties or events?
For private parties, it's probably within a few hours. It just depends on what we negotiate in terms of doing that, in terms of travel. So we travel, all over the place pretty much. So it just depends on what's negotiated in that service. For galleries, I'll pretty much travel wherever. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Is there a certain location that you have investigated that you really, really like? Like places that you've repeated your experience at? Like it's starting to split into two questions now. So do you have a favorite place that you have investigated? And then part two of that, I'm getting some goosebumps. Part two of that is a place that you have repeatedly gone to I'm getting friendly spirits. Are there similar, like, are they saying welcome back? Like, I'm curious if you have, repeated spiritual presence when you go back other times.
So for me, it's so hard to pick one that's my favorite. Our local venues here are, they're great experiences. Like we have Madison Seminary, we have Writers Inn, we have Prospect Place here in Ohio, we have all the jails. We have so many different locations in Ohio to investigate. But the one that I think I can say is my favorite, only because of the evidence that I got from there, is that's probably the only way I can give you a deciding factor, is the Lemp Mansion, because that is the first time I've ever caught a person shape in the thermal camera and watched them get up and go across into a door that's closed. And so for me, that's one of our best pieces of evidence we've captured. And like for me, that was, a great experience. So that's probably why Lemp Mansion in Kansas is one of my favorites. And then, oh, we had a great experience too at the one in Indiana in Fort Wayne, Bell Mansion. We had a great experience there too. So with evidence in terms of a flashlight just turning on, but it's just sitting there. There's no like loose, yeah, and or anything like that. It's just a flashlight that's sitting, and somebody was holding it first, and then we put it down on the table. It did it twice, and it turned on without any help or assistance, and it was just a regular flashlight. And then as far as going back, I think for us, we've gone back to Prospect Place now, what, a few times, and we always get something new while we're there, but we always come in and see the same spirit, like some of the same spirits that were there before. So we always have some interesting, evidence, whether it's through an EVP. One time I captured this image in a mirror that we can't explain. So, you're always, and they're different, they're unique experiences. And we've been back there now at least 3 times, maybe 4, but 3 times, at least, and have had that great experience of returning, So yeah, but we have great, like, just great spots here. And doppelganger activity for me at Madison Seminary, where people heard me talking and I heard myself talking, but it wasn't me. And I thought somebody was playing back my voice, and they thought I was just talking in the front of the line. Like, so it was crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
So those are my favorite stories to tell. So
That stuff does not get old, does it?
it doesn't get old. No. And you remember the feeling when it happened too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think my final question is, do you, because it happens to me, I'm curious if you have it too. If you sometimes get information for somebody a day or a couple of days in advance.
Yeah, it can. So the way I was trained, especially by Cindy, is to not stack. Like they don't ever want you to stack before you go into anything. So like gather information before you go in to do a reading. You should
Okay.
just like walk in and just start reading. Sometimes you can't stop it and it just comes in. So I just take in what comes and I hold on to it, and or if I'm getting like a physical pain and I know it's not me, I'll just record it and I'll say okay, and I'll hold on to that, but I try not, because I know they come to me beforehand. Like, well,
Yeah.
before, I mean, we've gone on like paranormal investigations where like cold cases have happened, and I'll see a person that matches the description of the person that we're about to go and talk about at the location. And, I have to record that so that they know, so they know for the future that the person has come to me and started to try and communicate. So, like that type of stacking, I think is okay. Like you can't control it. They want to bring those messages through. And it ends up bringing validation to the people that, you're going to meet. So I'm fine with that because I'm not looking for it or searching for it. I'm supposed to get that message. If they broke through whatever, boundaries I have, there had to be a reason for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Oh, this has been so much fun. And then I think we have you, you're doing a gallery at our event. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Saturday night?
Well, this has been an absolute pleasure and so much fun. And I really look
Yeah.
forward, I wouldn't mind like, doing some kind of a cool event that we can maybe even collaborate on. I love to
Yeah, that's
collaborate.
awesome.
It's
Yeah,
like what do
that'll
you
be
call like
fun.
cross-pollinating,
Yeah,
the busy bees that we are.
that's awesome. I love
Beautiful.
it.
Well, thank you. Thank you so very much. Is there anything
Thank
else that you
you.
would like to add that I have not asked or that you wanted to share?
No, just tune in. Well, we're on hiatus right now, but we have encore presentations playing through the month of August. But tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. for live one-on-one readings on the Spirit Realm Network. We'll be on Roku when we come back in the fall, and spiritrealm.net and their Facebook page. So, yeah,
Excellent. Righty, we
thank
did
you.
it. Thank you so very much. It has been my pleasure, and we will be
And
seeing
mine.
you in just a couple of weeks.
I know it's exciting. I can't believe it. It's already here.
I know it came really fast. Thank you very much, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All righty, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the Woo Factor today. I am your host, Suzy Woo, and I hope to catch you on the next episode. Make sure that you like if you did enjoy this content and subscribe to the channel. And don't be shy, share it with a friend. If you'd like to be featured on the Woo Factor podcast, all you have to do is reach out to myself at my website, suzy-woo.com. And if you want to see all of the vendors and exhibitors and presenters and way cool people and businesses that we're going to have, all you have to do is go to the event website, which, say it slowly, is metaphysical, holistical, mystical.com. And I will probably not name events so lengthy in the future. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.